In my last podcast, I talked about how I have this idea to try to build community and mutual aid in my neighborhood by starting a neighborhood support group on Signal. I finally got around to it. So I'm going to tell you how that went, which was pretty well. So I'm also going to give you instructions on how to start it yourself if you want to. So the first step was just to write up a little document explaining why I thought it was important, giving people instructions on how to use Signal, and explaining who I was. So my name, my contact information, a little photo to help humanize me, as well as help people realize who I was in case they saw me walking down the street with my dog. Then I borrowed some office supplies to print off the flyers and went knocking door to door around my neighborhood last night. After knocking, I just put on a nice friendly face, take a couple steps back so it's easy to see me from their window or their door hole thing, whatever. About half the people answered their doors. Some people just weren't home. And one lady actively waved me away, and I just yelled at her, "Hey, I'm your neighbor," and said I was going to drop it in her mailbox or whatever for them. Let her just review it on her own time. Some people really hate solicitors, don't want to be sold to. So, that's what they're expecting. But of the people that I talked to, a lot of them thanked me for starting this process. A lot of them told me that although they had lived in this neighborhood for years or decades, they didn't even know who their neighbors were. Not a single one of them, left or right. I asked all of them if they knew what Signal was. About half of them said they did. For the ones that didn't, I let them know I'd be happy to help them figure it out if they contacted me. It's also something to remember about the average American, that they're not necessarily paying attention to what's going on in this country. One guy actually had a bunch of motorcycles and even knew people in Motor America that me and my partner knew. So that was a sick connection that I coincidentally found. He invited me to a MotoGP barbecue, and I'm taking him up on that shit. And not 24 hours later, someone has already contacted me and the group is started. This is Community Building 101. Leaders aren't born, they are made. It seems like a lot of people are looking for leaders in this moment. And to be honest, I don't necessarily like or prefer leading, but I often find myself in that position because I have a bias for action over stagnation. So the question I have for you, or to ask yourself, is why can't you be a leader in this moment? I'll put a link in the description to my template, but it took me 15 minutes to create, so feel free to roll your own. Getting these community systems started is the hardest part. So if you do follow this instruction manual, let me know how it goes for you. Peace.